Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the show. I do apologize for the late start. That was my fault. I was completely absorbed into watching Fear the Walking Dead, and then, Mystic sent me a message like, dude, what the fuck?
Sure did.
And so
That's the nice version.
right? I was like, oh shit. So yeah. But here we are. Here we are. So that was my bad. My apologies. I'm on this beginning of the 6th season, so yeah, I was just it was just crazy.
Well, Rook is going to see Beetlejuice for the first time tonight after the show.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Like, who's not seen Beetlejuice?
Well, me.
I didn't know it was possible.
Yeah, Rook is back on. So today is your birthday, isn't it, Rook?
Yes, I'm 26 today, the youngest one in the group. What's so funny?
I'm just gonna smile and nod. Everything else is on a spectrum. Why not age?
Hey, I agree.
Well, same in nature, differing in degree, I guess.
That's right. We've been talking about that.
You do look good for your 50s.
Look, bitch. I ain't 50 yet.
Oh, fuck that. Damn, no.
And Dragon Dancer, no, he has never seen it. Yes, Aaron Page, first time. It's insane. Got Nightmare, the Nightmare Before Christmas last night for the first time. Although I think I passed out pretty fast.
Really? That was your first time watching Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah, that was really good.
What the hell is wrong? How have you lived this long and not seen that fucking movie?
I know.
Oh my god!
I've got lots.
You've seen it. You've seen it, right? So that's the important. Have you seen The Crow? At least. He's not seen The Crow.
I don't know what the hell he's been doing all his life.
I've got some movies to catch up on.
Okay, so after Beetlejuice, dude, you need to watch The Crow. That's my suggestion. Like, when it comes to gothic romance, like, that is the movie to end all movies when it comes to gothic romance.
I would agree. Really great track, too. What do they call it? Score.
Oh, yeah. The soundtrack?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, anything
yes, I
with,
did see Teeth.
What's that?
Sad world. I did see Teeth. We've seen Teeth.
We have seen Teeth. Have you seen Teeth, Adius?
I think so, but it wasn't memorable.
Then you didn't see Teeth.
You remember this as a male.
We got recommended it the other day and decided to watch it based on certain person in the chat's recommendation. And it's about a vagina with teeth.
Literally?
Literally.
Yeah. Vagina dentata.
It actually, yeah, that was it. I can't believe you remember that. Actually, I was surprised that like some of the acting was actually pretty decent.
Sad World typed it. I totally did not remember that. Somebody typed it.
Vagina dentata.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's something I would want to watch.
Probably not.
You probably don't want to watch it. It's very graphic.
Yeah, but also like Terrifier, right? Have you seen Terrifier?
Oh, Terrifier is amazing.
Yeah,
I've seen those.
That's one of those that's right up there with. It gave me it's got all the pieces without going overboard, but going just to the line enough. Yeah. That was a really good. That one actually scared me a little bit. Like that one pushed me. I enjoyed it.
That's a weird fucking movie.
Yeah, not like the other ones we've talked about that just really have no purpose.
Yeah, those. Yeah, we won't mention those again.
Yeah,
because we don't want anybody getting a little overly curious and actually watching it.
And it's a mistake. So yeah,
it is.
Terrifier is good though.
Yeah, Terrifier as far as horror movies are concerned, like if you like gore flicks, like if that's what you're into, like Terrifier is, you know, is a good refresh on the slasher series,
Yeah.
or rather the slasher genre. Yeah, there's a big pot leaf on your can.
Uh-huh.
Oh
So I don't
wow.
know when it was. Did I mention that was this week that it happened, wasn't it, Brooke?
What?
It was, but is that as concentrated as the big ones that we
It's not
had?
as many. So we have these big bottles, kind of like this, 32-ounce refillable bottles at the Kava place, and some of the Kava drinks, they're all on. Many of them are on tap, and four of them actually, but the one that I got was mixed with one of their Delta 9 drinks, and then
Mm-hmm.
Rook copied me on that Delta 9 drink. Uh, and I've smoked enough in my life. Um, we were so high we could not leave the building. Like we had to stay and wait to leave off of
Really?
this drink. Yeah. Like it was
Damn.
bad. And it was great, but it was bad because we weren't expecting it.
Right.
So it was very it was very very weird. There like this there is I never would have needed my medical marijuana card. Just wouldn't. I Nothing has gotten me more off my case than this has. That's crazy. But anyway, it's really good.
It's pear flavored.
Well, with the deltas, like Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, like you don't need a card for it, right? Because it's technically not THC.
Well, they're all THC. Delta 9 is actually THC. Delta 8 is actually also THC, but the way that the body utilizes it is different. But Delta 9 is the standard. That's like when people smoke, that's really what they're looking for.
Is Delta 9.
Is Delta 9. Like that's the high one, the highly chemically or whatever you call it activated.
Right. No, I'll stick with
Um
Delta 8. Delta 8, does its job for me. I tried CBD, man, but that very quickly it loses its effect.
ooh.
Like CBD really just kind of like doesn't do shit. I still got half a bottle of CBD sitting over here that
Yeah.
like when I first tried it, like I got like a nice little comfortable high from it. And then like after a week of using it, it just stopped. Like it just didn't do anything. So,
Yeah.
and let's be honest, like anytime we use products like that, we want to get high,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
so
I will say, like, just from the kava side, yeah, kava is one that you shouldn't drink much of. Some people are very sensitive to it. This is not kava. This is the Delta 9 one, but they have lots of different ones that you can use and stuff. And yeah, it's soda like, but these are actually brewed, and it's from a brewery,
mhm.
and it's like the alternative to alcohol, and it's very neat. It's like it's something we've been going there for about a month and a half now, and have zero desire to drink or do anything else really.
That works,
Nice.
man.
Hmm.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get a little bit of a buzz. So for those wondering, I'm drinking a little concoction that I don't know if it's an actual thing, but we used to make it back in college. It's called Wapatula, right? So Wapatula normally is like a kiddie pool that you throw a bunch of fruit and candy into, and then you just dump every fucking liquor that you have in the house in the fucking kiddie pool. And then you let it sit for like 2 days.
It's like bug juice.
Yeah, pretty much. And then like, so here's the thing: like the liquid will get you drunk, but you eat the fruit. Ooh, shit.
Now that you mentioned that, it reminded me, like, back when I was in college, we used to take the watermelon, you'd cut a hole in it and you'd put the vodka bottle in it and turn it upside down
Mm-hmm.
so that the vodka goes into the watermelon, then you
Yeah.
eat the watermelon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to make witch's brew for a couple years ago for Halloween, and we made it in a 5-gallon bucket, and I think I lost about 3 or 4 hours of that night.
Yeah. No, it's like I mean, this is a very tamed version of the Wapatula. I just had like a can of
Sounds
fruit
good.
cocktail, and a half a bottle of vodka. So I was like, all right, screw it. I just grabbed like one of the Kool-Aid pitchers that I have and just put the fruit in there with the juice and everything, some grenadine, and then like a half a liter of fucking vodka, put it in the fridge and let it sit for like 4 hours. So, yeah, it's good. It's sweet. Like it doesn't taste like alcohol, which is dangerous. So it just tastes sweet. That's it. And I'm starting to feel the buzz. Buzz. So, Mystic. So before we get into the topic of the evening, which I think is a very fun and interesting topic, what do you got for us for tarot?
I know I talked about this, but I don't think I actually used it.
No, you didn't. You talked. You didn't use it because you said you were saving it to use it first for somebody else.
Yeah. So this is Incromancy 2, the second deck. The other one we talked about was the fourth deck. You can't get the first and third anymore. They're all limited runs. I got 726 out of 1,000. And I've got their newest one on the way, which I can't remember what it is, but this is when I talked about where the tattoo shop makes them, right? They've designed them. I think I did show the back too.
Yeah, you showed that,
So
but you
that's
wouldn't
the
show
back.
any. You wouldn't show any of the cards themselves, though.
So this deck is called Apocalypse. And that is like each one has its own thing. I think the other one that I actually did use that night was no, I didn't. I think I used Citadel instead. But anyway, I've got the two decks and each one has its own theme. The last one was gender affirming something or other. I can't remember the actual name of it, but this is pretty cool. Like it's all designed by tattoo artists. So for example, cardstock is pretty good. It's not that really good canvasy fiber stuff that works, but it's close to it. It's like if I bent this, it'd break.
Okay.
But here's just a random Seven of Pentacles.
Interesting. Sad World, I
Yep.
can't tell if you're being sarcastic or if you're being serious. I mean, to each their own, right? I mean, if that's your role, that's your role, man. But I just can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I don't know that I would do the crack part, but the cocaine part's fine.
Right?
Temperance. So like literally, I don't know. I can't say that every card is a different artist, but the cards are made by multiple artists. And you can kind of see the tattoo, classic tattoo drawing, maybe like the tower. You can kind of see how that would look. And then, what's another interesting one? The Emperor. This one's a neat one too. So this is the deck we're going to use tonight. Look, ain't nobody hating on nobody's crack cocaine. Except maybe Whitney. Crack is wet. Show me the receipt. But yeah, no, this is definitely a pretty cool deck. Let me give it a couple of really good shuffles. And we're gonna pull a few. Look, I have solved the world's problems more than 5 times over in one night with that one.
In a bathroom stall, talking to the guy that has the cocaine.
Yep. Nothing like having friends that have a glass kitchen table from the thrift store and 10 seats at the table.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get some tarot energy out here. Ooh, it's a good one. It's also a good one. All right, so we're gonna start with the King of Wands. Sorry, I'm not joking. The birthday person.
Come again?
The King of Wands. Sorry. Rook has a hard time saying wands, so I make fun of him often because he'll say it's the king of wands. Like, it's not the ones. Ones are aces. It's the king of wands. Ah, wands. Anyway, sorry.
He's giving you shit, man.
It's his birthday. I'm allowed to.
Just call it rods. Sounds better anyway.
All right. So the king of rods and wands is often representative of a mature strength. Now, I say this all the time, just for those who aren't always in here. Court cards for me represent people. So to me, this would be a very strong male energy that's going to be around us over the next week. It is a loyal energy. It is a move forward energy. It's a progress energy. Strength. I don't want to say nobility because I don't like the whole nobility thing, but that's what this represents. So this king comes into our life and kind of sets the standard for the things that are happening over the next week and making sure that things are making sense and that things are progressing. So this is a very good support card in the realm of usually something that's work related. You may have a rod, Sad World, but do you have a big deck? You started it. The Empress. So we went right from King of Wands, right? The King of Rods. This is the big rod. This is the big guy. The nobility, the strength, but we're throwing right into it the Empress, which is that feminine energy. So this really brings back the major arcana, right? The feminine energy. This is the abundance. This is where things are protuberant, and I have, and I'm able to make my needs and meet my needs, and have a lot left over for people. So we're talking growth, we're talking security, and things that are going forward. So this whole energy we continue to talk about, this King of Wands and the Empress. I mean, this is a pretty good union of energy. This is a very good balance of energy going into things, and even more so, taking it to the third card, the Ace of Wands. And the reason that this makes so much consistent sense is Ace of Wands is really like the new thing, right? It's the new fortune. Things are starting. It's the growth of this whole new energy, this whole new project and thing that you're going to be working on. And so you take all that energy. You take the king, who's the person that's present, right? We talked about King of Wands being the masculine energy of the creation of the rods, right? You bring him in, you add the Empress energy, which is abundance. I have lots of it. So you have male presence, lots of abundance with a new project coming through. So if somebody's coming out, helping you out, it's a really good time to start that new thing at work, or that new project, that new system next week, that new whatever it is, and it'll come out really well for you. So energy is really, this week, is about like our creative things or our work things, the things that we do with our hands and that we do to make money, to support the project.
This is going to be like the best example. So every time you do a reading, like, I know a general read is supposed to read just kind of like the general energy is kind of flowing through shit and how it fits. Like, and most of the time, like, it should generally in some way fit most people's circumstances or situation.
Mm-hmm.
But your shit is always spot on with what I've got going on, right? Because you're talking about creativity and things that we do with our hands. So I'm building a new computer because my processor and my RAM just can't handle the shit that I'm doing, right? And I've literally got the processor, the RAM, the the cooler, and the new case sitting right next to me. And next week, the motherboard's going to be here, right? And so I'm going to have this whole thing completely set up next week, and I'm going to be able to use it, just not with the new graphics card, because I'm going to get that in a couple of months. But I just think the whole idea, the reason why I'm doing this is so I can increase the amount of production that I'm doing when it comes to design work, when it comes to video editing, things like that. And I've already got clients lined up and waiting, based on this. And then you're going in saying, oh yeah, next week, do things we do with our hands, creativity, shit like that. And it's like,
it is.
It's spot on. It's spot the fuck on.
Yeah, well, remember the wands, right? Like, a lot of people have to use wands. Wands are, well, I guess some people do think Harry Pottery, but Harry Potter-ish. That just didn't work out.
Harry Pothead
But
and the
remember,
Sorcerer's
yeah,
Stoned.
wands are extensions of our will and our hands, right? So if we're using a wand, it's really just to hone in that point of what we're looking for. So the king of wands would make sense to be talking about the full control and capability of the thing we create with. So we are zapping creation in with our hands. So we're whatever we're working in, that's the thing that we need to be doing. And then you throw in the abundance. The Empress has got everything covered. And then ace is always starting for me. Like if aces come up, especially at the end of a 3-card read, that means we are ending with something that's going to bloom into the next thing.
That's just crazy. Dude.
Definitely something in the creative or work fields. Like they're very energetic, very 2 out of 3 wands too is pedal to the metal kind of thing.
Yeah, dude, it's just crazy to me. Like legit. Like it's just most weeks it fits perfectly, but like that right there, like the reason why I wanted to bring it up because it fits there's a literal example that I can give, right? That shows how accurate it is, right?
I think my tarot is getting better because I'm more aligning with the things that I should have aligned with earlier.
I maybe not. Okay, so I generally disagree when people say that. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but let me hear me out, right? So when people kind of say, "Well, I should have done this sooner, or I should have done this earlier," I think we do things when it's the right time for us to do it.
I'm not really saying and maybe I said it wrong, not that I should have been doing it all along, but I'm doing it more aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I definitely get
things
it.
Things are more in row now than they were before, so it's the decoding is quicker.
No, definitely. No, and the thing is like I just there's always like I think there's always like when it comes to spiritual paths, like there's always this constant kind of growth. I mean, just on the basis of the people that we've had in chat that are Christian witches, right? I've taken another look at the Bible. I'm not becoming a Christian, guys. Don't worry. That's not going to happen anytime in mine or anyone else's fucking lifetime. That's just not going to happen. But specifically, the points in the Bible where Satan is more prevalent, right? Where like there's direct communication with Satan, right? Are the aspects of the Bible that I'm looking into again, right? And reanalyzing everything in the sense of, obviously Satan was always kind of looked at and portrayed as, the great deceiver, the great liar. But, I mean, this is something we've said before, but, going back and checking, right, to verify the information, in all of the major scriptures that are always spoken about where Satan is like this horrible entity, Satan never lies once in the Bible. He never lies. God does. God lies. Multiple times.
Always.
Yeah, right? But Satan never lied. Not once to anyone that he had direct communication with in the Bible in those stories. Did Satan ever actually lie? He said, this is what this is going to do, and it's your choice from that point.
Yep.
So it's just...
in all the stuff that we've been reading lately, and kind of looking at and taking in from all the different versions of I don't know, COS, TST, STS, STD, VD, I don't know, all of the letters that we have. They all kind of have that same thing in common where it really comes down to blue pill, red pill kind of thing. Right? Is either blissful obedience or hurtful knowledge, painful knowledge, I guess I should say. I think if people really understood what that choice meant, a lot more people would pick the painful knowledge. Like the painful truth, I guess is probably even better. And that comes up a lot. Like I know, like me and Rick been talking about it a lot today because we've been reading all kinds of books and just we're going off in offshoots all over the place and trying to reconcile a lot of this stuff into coherent thoughts. And what's funny is, okay, so for example, I'm reading a book that has a title that you might not like, or maybe you do like. I don't know, but it's called the Book of Baphomet.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And then there's the Satanic Testament, right? And then there's the
Oh,
Satanic
no.
Bible.
I was going to show that.
Oh, it's stupid.
You
Um,
heifer.
and then there's the point being, all of these things have their own little version of what actually happened, but all of them match very similarly to some of the things that the Bible said. If you don't, interpret them based on your own idea of what perfection is, and it's always the same thing of some sort. The egotistical God that has created everybody, who's jealous, who doesn't want anybody to think any differently than he does or go outside of any of that will, and that's what you have to look forward to.
But it wasn't even bad stuff. It was like Satan or the devil was bringing things to light, like art, music, beauty, that kind of stuff that God didn't want anybody to have, and that was evil. That's stupid. Like that's
It's all
just
interpretation.
dumb. I mean, oh,
Fucking Mark.
I agree, little tree sap. Yeah, I saw that.
Fucking Mark. Love you, man.
But
No,
I think
like-
that the big thing too is like there's this whole backside of and Mark kind of made it pop back up into my head. There's even the Christ that we are talking about, that we are having the conversation of in this satanic devil adversary context, right? Is also a misinterpretation. And I said to Rook earlier today, I said, and I'm not making some revelation that other people have not made, but what if God and the devil are ultimately the exact same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Differing in nature, same in nature, differing in degree again.
Yeah.
compliment.
And it's just like we've misunderstood things all the way around. So my bet is all of it is right and wrong, and there's not much you can just do about it.
Well, it's kind of like the idea that I kind of brought up a couple of shows ago, that like if you look at like organized faith across the globe, right, and they're spanning different time frames when they were created, right? Some are significantly older than Christianity. Some of them are right around the same time. Some of them after, but they all share very similar mythology. Like in the way that they're constructed, the way that they're built, their savior, the whole idea of, being crucified or, persecuted for their belief, and then, becoming a martyr, and then dying and coming back to life after 3 days. And there are thousands, not hundreds, thousands of faiths across the globe that follow the same characteristics as Christianity, all the way down to one of the oldest recorded faiths, the Egyptian faith, right? I'm not sure what the actual name of it is, so I just call it the Egyptian faith. There's a name for it, and I can't remember what it is. And for anybody that follows it, I'm sorry if I'm being disrespectful. But, throughout history, it follows the same characteristics. When it comes down to satanic organizations, because you mentioned that really quick, I did want to bring that up before I forget. So the two primary satanic organizations that exist, and I say unfortunately loosely, unfortunately are not necessarily spiritual organizations. I mean, they're spiritual in their own right? And you can definitely get a lot of spirituality through it, right? And if you've ever read the Satanic Bible, there's a shit ton of spirituality in there, right? Even though the ritual aspect of things is more for kind of like your own psychology rather than it is to actually get in touch with something, right? So the unfortunately comes in is that they're atheistic, right? That's one unfortunately. The other unfortunately is the Church of Satan has forever been riding on the back of everything that Anton LaVey has done and has barely produced anything new whatsoever, you know, after Anton LaVey. And even the core values of what the Church of Satan was supposed to be changed. At this point, it just feels like just collecting a check off of people that want to join, because it's like $250, $300 to join the Church of Satan. And then that doesn't even get you in the door, right? That just gets you a little metal card that says that you're a Satanist. That's what that does. Oh, and a certificate. But it doesn't get you in the door to any type of group ritual activity or anything like that, like Anton LaVey used to do. Like, one of the big turn-ons for Anton LaVey was, dude used to have these open door policy things, you know, at his home when he was doing rituals. Grant you, because of his status and where he was at, the type of people that showed up, they're mostly actors and producers and doctors and lawyers, you know, people that had fucking money. But it was an open door policy. Any walk of life that wanted to come in and learn about what the fuck was going on could do so. Then there's obviously the private parties and shit like that, but Anton LaVey managed things very differently than the Church of Satan currently does. And then, you know, with the TST, right, the Satanic Temple, I think a lot of what they're doing, even if they're doing it for the wrong reasons, is good. A lot of the things that they stand up for. But at this point, TST is definitely more of an activist organization rather than it is a spiritual organization. It has that spiritual aspect incorporated into it because it's its base, right? It's what it's built off of. But if you watch what they do and how they do things, right, the things that they talk most about are things to shock people and trying to get notoriety, like After School Satan. Like, After School Satan's a great idea. Have you fucking watched the video for After School Satan? You're not winning hearts and minds with that fucking video, man. It was like, that's like was some like early 2000s Marilyn Manson type shit. You know, a parent is not going to watch that video like, yeah, sure, I'm going to put my kid in After School Satan. No, it was there to shock people, right? It's almost like they don't even take themselves too seriously, but they want everyone else to, you know? Now, not to say that certain chapters and areas of the organization don't do great things like cleaning up beaches and stuff like that. They do awesome work. They really do. But the core of the organization, in my personal opinion, it's not there, right? And unfortunately, when it comes to Satanism and people's introduction to the left-hand path, that's what they got to look at. And it's in my opinion, it's very lacking. Thankfully, most of the people that, you know, come down this path are halfway intelligent and kind of start kind of branching out from that, right? They start looking into everything. They're not like your typical Christian type person, no offense, Mark 5, you know, that reads the Bible and says, all right, that's it. I'm not looking at anything else. That's it. You know, I'm going to die for Christ, even though he died for me. You know, so, I mean, that's, I don't know, that kind of is disappointing to me because the two biggest organizations that people have to turn to don't even help people learn. They don't. Like, it's go buy the Satanic Bible. And it's like, wait a minute, how long have you been around? How long have you been riding the coattails of Anton LaVey? And it's good. Okay, that's fine that that's your core doctrine. That's fine. But, you know, don't you want people to learn, respect, and understand where those core values come from? Like, why that's your core doctrine? Why that's the book that you point everybody to? Like, I would. You know, this is why we follow this man. This is why we believe this man's idea and philosophy was great enough for us to maintain this organization for as long as we have. But they don't. And I think that that's a failing in the organization. As far as the Satanic Bible is concerned, I think everybody should read it. I think whether you're a Satanist or not, I think everybody should read the Satanic Bible at least once. It's an amazing fucking book. It's right there. right? Amazing fucking book. But, you know, as far as the organizations are concerned, it's at this point, I think it's just disappointing.
I don't know how I feel about it because it's kind of like they did it the way they wanted to, right? LeVay did his thing. They did his thing. His daughter, kids, all the stuff happened the way they wanted. They did it. And I mean, that's that. Like, it's do your own shit, read the book. I think he's probably would have preferred it that way anyway, sometimes from what you read. And then, you know, the Satanic Temple doesn't mince that they're a activist group, basically. They're all about the shock value of the push.
Mm-hmm.
And
But there are
that,
other groups that kind of come out of those, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that have references to feel differently, different answers. I'm sure Rook is going to talk about the one he was just getting ready to try to put in there, but that one, so I'll leave that blank. And then, you know, of course, Dr. Michael Aquino, we're reading a lot of stuff by him. There's Don Webb. There's all kinds of additional people that have been through some of those things. But the out of those two, like, I don't see that there's any way to personally grow through that than there is anywhere else. And there's all kinds of other small groups too. But Rook is dying to show that book again.
Yeah, go for it, Rook.
so a lot of y'all don't know, but for about 2 years, I have been just looking and reading and trying to find something that fits for me. And I've always had like the theistic side or element that was important to me. So this Satanic Testament, this is the 3rd edition by Lucifer. Oh, you're probably gonna make fun of us say this. League of Orden. Are you laughing at me, Mystic?
Didn't do anything at all.
Well, you usually are laughing at me.
Asshole.
So this really, the group that this author is a part of, I'm really digging it and wanting to learn about it because it's a Levian theistic based group. So basically, the Satanic Thulian Society, I'm not saying I endorse them, it's just what I'm looking at right now because it resonates with me, a lot of the things, but they follow a lot of LeVay's early teachings before him and Michael Aquino kind of split from the group. And the I'm about halfway through it. I've had it a week. It's 500 and something pages. And the part I'm getting into now is where he's trying to basically show evidence and proof that LeVay was not an atheist and that he did believe in Satan as other things or a dark energy. And it's really good. But this book actually starts out, the first, 40 pages is Michael Aquino's Diabolicon, which is very interesting in itself. I don't know if any of you have read that, but it is basically, it's like Satanism, left-hand path version of Genesis. It has statements of Satan, Beelzebub, Abaddon, Asmodeus, Astaroth, Belial, and Leviathan. And it talks about creation of the world, God, humanity, while covering a dualistic idea of Satan complementing God, kind of like what y'all were talking about earlier. But it's very interesting, even if you just read the Diabolicon, and then it gets into these other topics that it's very similar to the Satanic Bible. I think that's why I like it a lot. But it talks about things, like if you do, however you worship the devil, Satan, whatever you call it, you always, no matter, that doesn't matter, but you always have to worship yourself. And then it's a really good book. As far as the Diabolicon, just some of the statements in there that it's like, wow. Every other one, like one talks about how even God in all his terrifying majesty, basically was controlling, but I appeared, meaning the devil, dark person, Lucifer, I appeared as a goat, the most humble of man's creatures. And just everything in there is talking about how one is controlling, hiding, manipulating, And then here you have Satan, the devil, Lucifer, kind of in the shadows saying, no, I'm not here to manipulate. I'm going to show men knowledge about the arts, truth about things, beauty,
Mm-hmm.
music, science, medicine. And that was supposed to be the bad thing? Like I don't get it. Like I don't understand it.
Well,
And
yeah, that's definitely, yeah. I mean, that's the big question, right? And I going back to like kind of what you initially said about, LaVey, um, possibly being theistic and not atheistic. I believe that. Like, I mean, I think like with the Satanic Bible, there's a bounce back and forth, right, between the atheistic side and the theistic side. But I think it's misinterpreted. I do believe what this is my opinion. I have nothing to prove this. This is just my opinion. If you look at the time frame where the Church of Satan was founded, we're talking the mid to late 60s, right? Is when it was founded. So you're talking about a time frame. If you would have come right out and said, "I worship the devil as an entity," people would have just shut you the fuck down, because back in the 60s, America was definitely a Christian nation at that point. Most families were Christian. Catholicism had, its chokehold on the nation. It would have been shut the fuck down. It would have been done. So I feel like bringing in the atheistic aspect of it was sugarcoating it, right? It's like, okay, it's evil, but it's not as evil as we thought it was, right? It's kind of like when you're 15 and you're starting to get into goth, right? And you tell your parents it's a form of self-expression, which is you're just full of shit. You just want to scare the shit out of people. I mean, you're not going to tell your parents, yeah, I just want to scare the shit out of the neighbors, Dad. No, you're just like, no, I want to express myself, right? So it's kind of like that, right? Later on, it kind of like definitely you find that point of self-expression inside of it. But when you first start out, at least for me, when I started out in the goth path, I just wanted to scare the shit out of people, and it worked, and I loved it, but it's the same thing. Back in the 60s, you're not going to come out right and say, yeah, we worship the devil, and we love big, voluptuous, naked women sitting on our altars. You're not going to say that. You want to sugarcoat it a little bit and coast it into people, but it feels like it just never got past that. And
yeah.
I'm sure that maybe if LaVey and maybe his kids or his grandkids carried on what he wanted to do and continued the path the way that he was going down it, then it might have actually opened up into being something theistic. But it didn't go that way, because unfortunately, from what I've read, even his kids and his grandkids rode on his fucking coattails. Like, even if you look at what the fuck is his name? He was the only other one that people actually paid attention to, because his daughter kind of fell into the shadows, and did her own fucking thing, and nobody really paid attention to what the fuck she was doing. And then his grandson, what the fuck was his grandson's name? He just recently died, I think. Maybe a year or two ago.
Hold on.
What the fuck was his name?
Let's see, grandson. I gotta see. Stanton? The child of his daughter Xena?
Yep.
Howard Stanton LaVey?
Yeah, Stanton LaVey.
Stanton.
He was criticized by the Church of Satan because he wanted, from my understanding, to take his grandfather's place at the head of the church and turn it into what he said he knew his grandfather wanted it to be, which was something theistic. And the church wouldn't let him in. And then, unfortunately, time caught up. He got sick and shit like that. And I guess he died like maybe a year or two ago, before he could do anything. He tried to do his own little kind of sector of it and shit like that, but never got, any traction really with it. He did a few interviews here and there, but, really, nothing came of it. But he definitely wanted to take it like a more theistic direction. But the church shut him down. And because the church shut him down, which is his grandfather's fucking church. So if you look at a guy and say, dude, your own grandfather's church shut you down. I'm not going to listen to you. That's essentially what happened. So I definitely feel that there's validity in the statement that LaVeyan Satanism was supposed to be more than what it is. Not saying it's in a bad spot where it is, but I feel like the family, at least LaVey himself, wanted it to take it another step, but needed to bide his time to do it because of the time frame.
Interesting. It'll be interesting what it says in the book. I think that's the next section, Rook, that you're reading, right? Kind of goes into that whole discussion about that.
Well, there's this whole thing that I'm on now about this person, and she actually split off from Church of Satan and did, I forget what, but it wasn't good. But
That happened a couple times.
Hold on, let me get back to where it was. The oh God, what the heck? It was a person that was in the Church of Satan, and it's all her documents, and it's going into Church of Satan documents about it. Where's her freaking name? It's like the Jiu-Jitsu files, but that's not her name. It's and why didn't I write it down? Oh, it's right here marked.
The Jiu-Jitsu files.
That's not it. It's the Jansang files, and it references her notes about meetings with LaVey and different pages and parts of the Satanic Bible. But I heard, and I don't know because I haven't read him, but I want to read Peter Gilmore's book that he is really like big on pushing that. Oh no, this was all atheistic and this kind of stuff. So we'll see. Let's see what Jansang says.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, I mean, at the end of the day, history is always written by the winners, right? And I mean, if you look at the Church of Satan, the Church of Satan found a business model that worked. Like, they have very high value people that are members of the Church of Satan, right? In the atheistic standpoint, right? They have, like, we're, still to this day, there are people that are famous that are just like fucking Scientology,
Yeah.
Obviously, the famous people that are part of the Church of Satan aren't as public about it, right? Due to, potential ridicule and things like that. Though I think that regardless of whether being theistic or atheistic, I think it would be good for somebody with some stature and some, a platform to actually come forward and say, hey, yeah, I'm a Satanist, regardless. But, I do think that there's more to look into it. And I'm definitely going to look up that book because now that's piqued my interest to figure out if there is anything actually documented that says that, LaVey wanted to go a different direction with the church than what the church actually did after he died.
Like his rituals, when you watch, and I haven't watched much, just a little bit, he looks like he was tapping into something.
Yeah, man. Like, I've seen it. Any recorded rituals I can get my hands on and watch, mainly through YouTube, so it's limited. Of LaVey doing ritual, it doesn't seem like something, that's done, just for the theatrics. Right? Because there's a lot of shit that you can do just for the theatrics. And if it's just for the theatrics, you want to make it public, right? These were private rituals. Like, the few videos that are online are leaked videos. They weren't recorded to be public. They recorded for private collection. So that also leads me to believe that it's not for the theatrics. Right? Because me personally, if I'm going to do a ritual for the theatrics, I want the entire world to see it, right? I'm going to broadcast that shit, right? That's the point of theatrics. This seemed more personal. The organ music, the fucking, the incense, the naked women on the altar, the sex rituals, all of these things, that happened in his house under his roof in his temple. And you watch it and you look at him in the midst of it, just like what Rook said, reiterating the point. It looks like he's connected to something. beyond himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, the church says it's a pure atheistic faith, but I feel like there's more to it, and they just don't want it to go that direction because what they're doing right now is working for, the pocketbook. So definitely going to check out that book because, if there's anything in that book that kind of shines some light on that, I want to know. What I love about this show is like, I hang out with Mystic, we hang out off of the show, we hang out on the show every week, and there's always something new to learn, about what's going on. And then with the both of you kind of, unfolding on this path, however, left or whatever it is that you're going down, I'm, Mystic said it himself that he probably wouldn't go down this direction if it wasn't for the show and, or at least in the time frame that he's been doing it, without connecting with me and the other people in the audience. And now it feels like, maybe he learned a little bit from me and now I'm going to be learning from him. And that's the back and forth there, guys. Nobody's a master in this shit. Nobody. We all need to learn from each other. It's a back and forth. Right? And even though Rook and Mystic aren't on the exact same path and direction that I'm on, doesn't mean there's nothing I can't learn from them. That's the least true thing that could be said. So, go ahead, Rook, if you got something to say. I see you thinking. I see the gears turning, man.
Oh, I was just thinking back to what you said earlier, that it made a lot of sense of why back in the 60s that they would have to downplay it because they couldn't come out and say, oh yeah, at that time we think Satan is a real deity, a real energy, that they would have to play it off.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, you've got these it's not many but there's at least one I found that like celebrates the theistic part of it, and it's just like, gosh, but back then they couldn't. We watched videos of LaVey being interviewed and it was horrible. Like we
They
couldn't
treat him
even
like crap.
watch they were shitty to him.
Oh yeah.
Like for no reason.
He was
and he
a sideshow freak.
And he was just like
very respectful.
Yes. Very composed through the whole thing, and
even
he
cracked his own jokes, like laughed at himself.
Yeah. And he wasn't being like the sarcastic like he is in the Satanic Bible. He was very down to earth, calm and quiet, and they just tore him up unfairly. Like I if I didn't even know who he was,
it is uncomfortable
it's
to watch.
hard. It's hard to watch. Yeah.
No, and you can tell just by watching those interviews, it was a very Christian nation at that time. Because even on those shows, like they opened up directly about God and Jesus and this, that, and saving your soul and all of this. There was no shame about it. The whole intent of them having him on the show was to tear him apart. And he knew, like, this is one of the reasons why, like, at the same time in my life, around 14, 15 years old, I fell into LaVey and Marilyn Manson at the same time. Because if you watch Marilyn Manson in early interviews, it was the same thing. They would tear him apart and they would make fun of him, in these interviews. And he was just calm, collected, said his point, even showed up some of the interviewers, like made them look like idiots, because he had a very extensive knowledge of what he was talking about. And LaVey did the same thing. Like when they would crack on him, he would bring out his own jokes, and, laugh at himself, basically showing, I don't care what you think of me, but he also knew that if he wanted the Church of Satan to get the traction that he wanted it to get, these interviews were needed. He was going to have to deal with the ridicule of the public in order for it to get out there, because it's very true, kind of like what was said about both, like, if you think about Marilyn Manson, Anton LaVey, Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, more musics than religion. But if you look at, those characters, right, even though they're on these shows and they're being ridiculed, they're being made fun of, they're being torn apart by the interviewers, guess what? Every single angry and pissed off kid in the nation is watching that same show with their parents. So guess what? They just reached more people in that half an hour fucking segment than they ever would have with any publicity department, to push their albums. And guess what? All of these kids and all of these, young adults that were watching this shit is, dude, I connect with this. I feel this, and it made it digestible because you weren't getting the shock of the ritual or the shock at the concert. You were getting the artist. You were getting, the intelligence behind it. You were getting to know the person that was behind the shock. And then that made it more digestible for the rest of the people. Which is why it grew to be what it is. Regardless of my opinion and my disagreement of the direction that they're going, that's irrelevant, right? That's just my opinion. But it still exists today because of the work that LaVey put in. You don't see anybody doing interviews today for the Church of Satan. And they've been asked. And they just deny.
Yeah, they're set.
Yeah, exactly. So I just find it interesting. Another organization that I know of that rides off of LaVey, it's a warlock order, and I can't remember what it was. Like when we first started this podcast a few years ago, they actually reached out and asked if I wanted to be a member. And when I looked into it, like they weren't going to charge anything, but they wanted me to push, their shit, on the show. And I looked at it, and honestly, like their biggest selling thing is, a porno magazine dedicated to, the left-hand path. Like, so they have their own porn magazine, digital porn magazine, which is dedicated to like left-hand path styling and shit like that. And like 1950 style pinup models and shit like that. And like when I saw that, I was like, I respect it, but I don't want to push that on the show. More so because we would never make YouTube partner by pushing something like that. That would just never fucking happen. Those motherfuckers would be our only sponsor ever.
Period. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, grant you, they do both, straight, lesbian, and gay, right? So, I mean, they do the full spectrum. So,
what's the name again? No, I'm just kidding.
But, so yeah, I think it was like, I want to say like the Electric Hellfire Club, I think was the name of the website. And then like the actual organization, the theistic aspect of the organization, it was based on satanic warlocks, right? Like they even had like a program on there about like satanic masculinity. Like how to be like this, like alpha warlock kind of person. And it's just really gimmicky, dude. It's just really gimmicky.
Hey,
which part of Twilight was this?
Dragon, check them out. They're based in Wisconsin.
Oh, there you go. Can
Oh my
anyone tell
God.
Adius what I wrote?
What he wrote. Oh.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very glad. Look, the goal of this show has never been to be the most popular show on YouTube about this. If I wanted to have a super successful blowing up channel, there's a short list of things that I could do videos about that I'm good with that would blow it up, mainly like technology. Like, I mean, the first video I did with a software tutorial got 25,000 views, right? And that's one of the first videos on this channel. But it's not what I want to do. I'm not in this for the views. Like, I'm in this because people need to know that they're not alone. People need to know that when you're in hard times, there are people that are either in those same hard times or have been in those hard times and came out the other side. And there are people that you can come to. There are people that you can talk to, right? And we have something in common? Are a lot of us occultists? Are most of us occultists? Yeah. I mean, we've even got Mark V in here. He's a regular and he's a Christian, for fuck's sake. You know, I think he's the exception, not the rule. But that's just my opinion again. As far as people being accepting and tolerating of something different. But if what we do has helped you feel not alone, then I thank you. I thank you for allowing us, access to that part of yourself to allow you to know that you're not alone and to feel better and to believe in yourself and that know that you have value and then know that you are important. Because that's what this is about. I don't care if there are 200 people in the chat or 2 people in the chat. You're taking your precious time that you will never get back in your life to listen to us speak and sometimes just completely bullshit for an hour. But if us bullshitting puts a smile on your face and makes a hard day better, then fuck yeah. Then that's awesome. That's fucking awesome. That's what this is all about. It's not about who's right, who's wrong, who's on the right path, who isn't on the right path. There's nothing to do with that. This is about growth in being better as individuals so we can be better for each other. So I think that's awesome. So thank you very much for sharing that, Paranormal. And I am beyond words pleased that you found through us something that has always existed in yourself. So I'm almost out of alcohol.
I'm almost out of steam.
Steam?
But dude, I mean,
No.
Your weed drink is probably knocking you down there.
Oh, it definitely is doing that.
You're out of weed water.
It's knocking you down a couple of pegs there, homie.
Weed juice.
I was already tired. We've been getting up really early the past couple of days, even on off days. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. I get that. But we do what we got to do. You know what I mean? There are things that we don't want to do that we got to do, and we still do it. You know. So, but it's cool. It's I'm just glad that you're here. Rook. I've been trying to get your ass on this fucking show for weeks now.
You have. You have.
Like every time I tell Mystic, like, hey, get Rook on. He's like, all right, I'll get him on. Right? And then he says, like, okay, he's ready. He's supposed to be at his computer. And then we kind of let the intro run a little bit longer to dude, where is he? He's sitting in front of the TV. Oh. It's like, what the fuck, man? So it's just thank you, Elvin Gray. Thank you very much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate that.
Always.
So, but it's good to have you on, man. Happy birthday, your 26th birthday. You're looking great.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So.
His head's big enough as it is.
So Rook, tell me, I'm curious. Well, we got you on here because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get your ass back on here. Do you feel like you're moving like just left-hand path in general, or more Satanism, or non-decided? Where do you think you're going? Do you feel
Most
anything?
Definitely. Oh gosh, yeah. Most definitely theistic Satanism. It's like being drawn direct to it. I've been looking for a couple years and reading for the left-hand path. That book, this one changed my life. for sure. And so many things just were like, yeah, that's it. Right on. That's what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to this book. But I was like, I think even in here and reading some articles of Peter Gilmore, it's like, we don't believe in reincarnation and it's not a theistic thing. And then but that brought me to this, and I was like, there is
Mm-hmm.
room for deity in this practice and
Mm-hmm.
Satanism, and definitely theistic Satanism, no question. I'm drawn to it, I'm pulled to it, and I can't run to it fast enough. But I'm educating myself and then trying to go through the process of I need to do some of the rituals. I don't have the satanic ritual book, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna get it and go through some of those things and experiences. So it's not just
Mm-hmm.
things in my head and what I think, but going through it with what I feel. But there's no question. Theistic Satanism is what I can't get to quick enough, and I just want to experience and learn more.
I think that's awesome, man. I think that's awesome because, like, when we met, I guess you loosely labeled yourself a Wiccan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was not cool.
oh man, hey, I mean, to each their own, right? I mean, I respected it,
Yeah.
but I think it's cool that you're connecting the way that you're connecting. I can see kind of like that, like how emotional you are about it, how excited you are about it, you know. And dude, I mean, I love like your excitement that you show, like your visual excitement when you're learning something new that you're interested in. I think is something that we all should learn from because I know that this could potentially sound disrespectful, but I don't mean it as disrespectful. And Mystic, if you know a better way of saying it, then help me out here. But the level of innocence that you display on that excitement that you have, like just like the way you
Yeah.
absorb new things, like it reminds me of being a young kid, and learning something for the first time and being so excited about this new thing, and wanting to consume everything about it. And I feel like when we get older, we lose that, you know? And I think it sucks that we lose that as we get older. And so that's what I mean. I don't mean it as people think when you call an adult innocent, like you mean it as an insult. No, like it's not that you're an innocent person, but this innocence that you have with that energy, that you want to consume everything you want about this one thing. I think that's fucking awesome, man. I wish I could tap into that shit. You know,
Yeah.
I think people need to be able to tap into that, like to have that passion and that drive, to want to like, dude, I want to know everything there is to know about this, you know? And I think that that's fucking amazing. Like, I just love listening to you talk about shit, man, because like you're on fucking point with it. And I think it's something that everyone needs to see. You don't have to be a miserable piece of shit to be a Satanist.
No,
Like
no, we're actually quite not. Yeah. No, thank you. I think that is a compliment. Thank you. Yeah.
So, and Mystic. So, what about you with the left hand path? So, you said you're definitely no longer adjacent. You're leaning. You had you had your coming out moment.
A coming out moment, yeah. I mean, it's I've always had a theistic, kind of animism based, like
Mhm.
processing system with all this, and I guess that's probably would make the sense or that would make the most sense now to continue. So I'm not looking at the same kind of, like, I know there's the Goetia, I know there's all the different pantheons and things that we look at
Mhm.
with deity. So yeah,
Well, I don't think. I
yeah,
don't think. I
it's
personally don't feel labeling yourself a Satanist, or if you choose a specific thing, anyone out there, not just you. I don't think labeling yourself a Satanist or left hand path should be limiting in what it is that you practice or what you practice with,
yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, that's true, and it's not, thankfully, right?
Exactly. It's the complete opposite. But there's people that think that, if you're a left-hand path, then you only should be working with demonic entities. And I don't think that that's true. I don't just work with demonic entities, and I'm full left-hand path. Like I work with, obviously I'm a dedicant of Baphomet, but, I work with hell. That's Norse paganism. And it's not a demonic entity. It's a god, or a goddess rather. It's but it's a goddess. It's not a demonic entity. And, obviously there's more demonic entities that I work with than none, but I'm still open to like multi-pantheon, right? Like, because I feel a connection to those entities. And it's kind of like what we had I can't remember who said it, and I've repeated it many, many times. Different name, same phone number. Like you dial the same number, you're just looking for, it's just with a different name. So
a lot of them cross over, right? It's
Mhm.
from pantheon to pantheon, Greek, Roman, Welsh, all those. So it's the same thing with the demonic entities when you're doing that.
So what's the actual experience? So I'm a dedicate of Baphomet, so I work with Baphomet most of the time. I work with Lilith, Lucifer, King Paimon, El, with the H is semi-silent, right? So it's not hell, it's El, which is Norse paganism, which is the goddess of the underworld. So I'm kind of like all over the place with it, Have I seen? Like, so that's seen like, like a movie scene. Scene would be SEEN. To a degree, I've had conversations with Baphomet directly. You know, so Baphomet like is the one that I've had the most connection with. I'm, getting ready to push out a book here, called the Book of Baphomet Conversations with the Horned One, which is directly about these conversations. So, in my own way, like, I mean, if you're looking for me to say that I've seen them standing in front of me, no. But there are many different ways of communicating with the world around us outside of sight, right? I am not somebody that believes that you have to see something to believe it, because there are many things that are unseen that we definitely know do exist. So I feel this idea of seeing is believing is kind of bullshit. I think it's a cop out, right? It's an easy way out of trying to avoid difficult questions. So that's just kind of like my idea behind that. And I think that even the science, you know, that was the confirmation that it was him. It's just, you know it, man. You just know it. Like, I mean, it's like, what's your confirmation that you're in love with somebody? You just know it. You feel it. You just feel it.
Hey, ephemeral. Woohoo.
Yeah, definitely not hallucinating. Definitely not hallucinating. I mean, for somebody with psychic in their name, very critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Psychic
fine.
dashed in the Vampire Slayer. Like, I mean, you're rather critical of somebody with the term psychic in their name. Reminds me of somebody else that we know.
Oh. Don't go there. That's not necessary.
Don't go. But I mean,
I don't know.
I think hallucinating. I think like even like drug induced hallucination. Like when it comes to like acid, helps with spiritual growth to a certain extent. When done in moderation, in the right mindset, at the right time, You know, I definitely think that, you know, it helps, you know. Skora. Hello. You know, I definitely think it can help with spiritual growth, right? Because spirituality is about believing. You know, that's why there's a reason it's called faith, right? You know, it's belief that is that you can't explain. It's faith, you know, like you know it's there, you feel that it's there. Can't explain why you know it's there. You can't explain necessarily, you know, the trigger and the trip to it, but you know, right? You just feel it. And some people are disconnected from that. Some people don't feel it. You know, they feel more of a connection with the things around them. At the end of the day, we all feel a connection to something, whether it's a person, a place, a thing, you know. So, you know, it's just whatever you feel connected with. You know, there's no playing it down. Well, it's
I'm
still.
thinking the same thing.
I'm having a hard time following, but I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm really trying to. I can't follow.
I mean, Psychic has been in here. I don't know if it's under the same name, but has been in here a couple of times, and I can tell because of the writing style.
Yeah, I've seen that before for sure.
And you know, I'm not one to judge anyone about anything, but as an English teacher, oh. Psychic, you are more than welcome here, but you have to understand I am an English teacher, and I have been an English teacher for 16 years. Reading your comments makes so many areas of my brain bleed. And the thing is, as quickly as they are writing those comments, it's how they write.
Yeah.
Like they're not intentionally trying to do it to piss anybody off, because the comments are coming out quick, right? They're not trying to, you know, because to write like that intentionally would take time, right? Because you would have to change each word for each thing. So yeah, like, but yeah, my brain bleeds in so many different areas. You know, so but hey, to each their own, right? It's the drugs, makes you quick, right?
Quick.
Exactly. So you know, I mean, I have, like, even as an English teacher, I make spelling mistakes, you know, that's it was a joke, Psychic. It was a joke. Calm down. It was a joke. We rip on each other here, right? Jugs, right? I mean, hey, it's the truth. No lie there. Whatever your drug of choice is, but you know.
Well, good for you if you don't do that. That's good for you and your choice.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think that drugs, to a certain extent, help some people with psychic abilities. You know, I think it amplifies, you know, like for some people. If for you that's not the case, you know, go for it. You know, or don't go for it, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, I think this has been an amazingly interesting conversation. Rook, you definitely need to come on more often. And like one of the biggest reasons why I definitely now at this stage I've always wanted you to come on more often, but now I have an excuse to push you. Um, the thing is you can actually talk to people about the journey that you're on, and that's going to be really good for people to see.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I am really excited about it and happy to talk.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, is there
But thank
anything
you.
else that you want to add on about it? Like, about your experience thus far? Like, experiences you might have had, so far at this kind of beginning junction?
Right now, it's just through just the reading. I mean, it's just like everything is clicking. Like, yeah, that's right. And there's so many notes that I've written after reading. That's it. This resonates.
Mm-hmm.
My next step is I've got to do some of the ritual work
Mm-hmm.
and experience that part of it. But it's just crazy how. I don't know how I would never think that I would connect to Satanism. And it's been the one thing that's just like, damn. It's just like hit me on the side of the head here.
The funny thing is, it's one thing that a lot of people think that they won't click with, but I think that that's more society based. Like all of the stuff that's slammed to us in society about it's negative, it's bad, it's evil, it's this. And even though we might grow outside of that, that um, group mentality that it's evil, there's still kind of like that thing in the back of our head that makes us kind of move against it and say, okay, I'm not even going to bother. And then when you actually sit down, you say, fuck it, I'm going to bite the bullet and just read the fucking thing. A lot of people have the same reaction. They're like, holy shit. Like for me, I think the Satanic Bible, even in the modern era, has more relevancy than the fucking Bible does.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Goodness gracious, yeah.
I think every human being that wants to be a decent human being, listen to that statement very closely. Every human being that wants to be a decent human being should read the Satanic Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is nothing in that book that is going to make you a horrible person. It's going to make you better for yourself. It's going to make you better for your loved ones. And it's just going to make you better for the world around you by showing you the focus that you need to have on yourself. So that's my final statement. If you haven't read the Satanic Bible, fucking read it. Straight up. So again,
Definitely a good one.
Mark 5, if you're still in here, I'm
Yeah.
The Tao Te Ching, that sounds like something I'd order on a menu. I'm just like, I'm gonna go to my local Chinese. I want Tao Te Ching. I know, I've heard of it. I've heard like it looks familiar, but that's the first thing that popped into my head. Is that like Kung Pao chicken? Like, I mean, like. We're getting canceled, folks. We're done.
It was fun.
It's been a fun run, guys.
It's been a good run.
Oh fuck, I snorted. That's how funny that was. Yeah, I'm just giving you shit, man. I'm just giving you shit. No, I'll check it out. There's actually, I'm going to be honest, there is a book. So it's going to sound really stupid, right? But it's an actual book. In Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead, there's a character in there named Morgan, right? That learns martial arts from some random guy that he stayed at a cabin with, which was actually a really famous actor, but unfortunately he died and they didn't carry him on. Probably his salary was too high. But there is a book that he gives Morgan, which is his little mini pocket book, right? Called The Art of Peace. Right? And now I've read The Art of War, right? And apparently, so this little book is an actual book called The Art of Peace. But dude, it is hard though shit to fucking find. At least where I'm located. Like finding something that ships it down here, like, or someplace that actually sells it is fucking hard as fuck. But it's a book you know, that I'm interested in reading, right? Because it in this book changed his perspective on how he treats the world around him, and he's the one character in both shows that refuses to kill anyone. He'll kill a zombie, no problem, because they're already dead. But a living, breathing person, his statement to everyone when he meets them, "I don't kill," which I think in that that worldscape, right? You know, is fucking incredible because you're living in a world where everybody wants to kill you, right? So to have his point of view in life change so much that all life is sacred, right? And he refuses to kill. I'm just curious how polarizing the book actually is, or are they overplaying it in the show? You know, so I'm just curious about reading that. So, you know, but yeah. Anyway, I think Mystic was like actually like looking it up. Did you find
He
it?
ordered it.
No, I did not. I've been watching Ma Petite because she keeps moving and I don't want her to fall off the chair.
Okay. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it for today. Rook, again, thank you for taking the time to come on. Like, I know you generally prefer watching us on the big screen, but you know, it's good to have you in the show. And I definitely, like I said, like I reiterate the point, I definitely want to have you come on more because I think you sharing your experience, you know, in this growth process that you're going through, I think is going to be really fucking amazing for a lot of people. You know, so I
Thank
think
you.
I think that's going to be great. So everyone that is here, thank you very much for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. I love all of your faces, even though I don't know what your faces look like, half of you. Like I'm just being honest.
Good point.
You want to do a little bit of an after show, like a half an hour?
I don't know that I can.
No,
Maybe.
all right, half an hour.
I don't know if I can.
You can't. You're high. You're not dead. And the after show is more, you know, free flow, right? You know, it's your favorite part, man.
Well, it depends, but it is after 10 for us.
True.
Like, we're trying to watch Beetlejuice for the first time tonight, remember?
It's true. All right. Next week we'll do an after. Wait, are you on next week? Next week you said. Wait, what's next week? No, next week's the 1st. You're on next week. It's the 8th that you're not on.
Yeah, the only thing next week is my flight gets in at like I think 6:30 or 7 that day on Friday.
No, we can start a little bit later.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that means next week's show, guys, is gonna be about a half an hour, 45 minutes later. Okay, just a heads up. Next week's show. The show on the 8th is going to be canceled because I'd like to have a Friday off, and if Mystic's not going to be here, then you know I'm going to take advantage of the situation, and we're going to cancel the 8th. So Friday the 8th of December, there is no show. Next week's is going to start half an hour, 45 minutes later. Okay, and I'll put it in the community section so that way you guys have a written notice of it. All right. And next week we'll do a little bit of an after show. All right. So again, thank you very much, every single one of you, for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. You're the reason we do this. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.
Deuces.